All right. So I guess
there
like
was something
next
else I
one.
wanted to say about The Godfather.
Okay.
A thought I was holding on to. But something that like we talk about in my workplace is because it's like a paraprofessional position where like we all live on campus, and so we have to set like really strict boundaries of when we're available. It's really easy for your whole job to become your whole life, and that's really unhealthy. A I guess a phrase that we use a lot is an emergency on your half doesn't constitute one on my half. And that's kind of what I was thinking about when I was watching this, because like just thinking about the immediate situations that both Bonacera and the Godfather are going through. Bonacera, obviously, with the experience of having his daughter just like brutally assaulted, he's obviously feeling like much more higher up here. And then for him to come and talk to the Godfather on the day of his daughter's wedding, I feel like it's just such like what's the word? Such a um like they're just not like Bonacera. I feel like he was feeling really up here, and the Godfather is kind of like, you're gonna come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding with your emergency, and you want to make me feel like it's my emergency now, and even though you've never done this XYZ, and you want a service from me, and I just feel like that like immediate experience and how different they are really contributed to the way that their conversation went and why they were kind of bumping heads.
It kind of
Yeah,
started off bad from the beginning and just escalated from there and went downhill pretty much.
Yeah, I would feel like it would be like disrespectful. Like you don't respect me like on multiple levels, like as far as like The Godfather, like you come and interrupt my day to bring me your issues. Like I don't even know you. Like I would feel like if that was me personally, I'd be like, excuse you. Like this is like such an important day for me and my family. That, by the way, you're not a part of, although you could be, but you don't choose to be
You don't
until
want
now.
to.
Like I would just feel really taken for granted or taken advantage of, probably, or like it would just seem like really inconsiderate on Bonacera's. But it is an emergency for him, right? With The Godfather, like in this relational or like the where's that? Sorry, I'm reading out. The relational goal, like how do I want to be treated in this relationship, and or like the process goal of how do I want to resolve this, and I didn't start well from the beginning.
Yeah, not at all.
I'm gonna pick a different tomorrow or yesterday, not on the day of my daughter's wedding.
He's like, no, thank you. Get out of my office. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine if my daughter was about to get married and just some guy comes into my home and is like, can you kill that guy for me? I'm like, I would feel incredibly disrespected. Like,
Yeah.
You could have waited until tomorrow.
Yeah. I feel like the guy's perception, though, was just like, oh my gosh, I need this to happen right now, and I don't know what else to do. But also looking at The Godfather, it's like, well, that sucks too, but that's not my problem.
Sarah wants, he has this vengeance. It's going to cloud his perception anyways. Like if you had a clear head, like, oh, maybe I should wait for tomorrow.
Right.
So judgment, but that goes with like conflict. Like sometimes, if you let your emotions get the best of you, right? Or like, not thinking clearly. I'm mad, so I'm not thinking of anybody else but myself right now, or my daughter.
Yeah.
I feel like they also had like different senses of what justice is. Because the Godfather made a very direct comment about how when Bonacera said that he wanted justice for his daughter, and then the Godfather said that she wasn't dead, so like it's not the same because like they didn't kill her. But in his mind, like he just like wanted those guys dead because they hurt his daughter, and there was just kind of also like I feel an incompatibility of what justice means to each of them. But ultimately, the Godfather, if I understood correctly, did agree.
Yeah, he agreed, Todd, and he was like, even though we're not friends, basically, accept this as a gift. Basically, like I'll do this for you as a gift. Like Like you don't owe me anything or something. I feel like
well, I feel like, because I'm pretty sure he did say that like one day he might call upon him, and that day might not ever come. And so I feel like that really made their interaction transactional. And I have a feeling that. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I have a feeling that if you watch the rest of the movie, he probably does call upon him and has him do something.
Yeah, probably. It also makes it kind of hard since none of us have seen the movie.
Yeah.
But it's like you're in debt to me. So like it is like a transactional thing. Like I went and took a loan out, like from a bank. Like you still owe me that, you're gonna have to make payments probably. Like I murdered someone for you, like you're gonna have to, like pay me back, for my justice giving. But and also just like the respect and recognition, that the Godfather wants to also adds like in the transactional thing, I think. Like you want justice and I want recognition and respect, so different types of, I don't know, transaction.
They both have wants in the situation. It's not like just one person wants something and the other person's like, well, sure.
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
I have extra. Just have it. Had an extra kill today. I don't know.
Why not?
Forget what else was on our agenda as far, because I actually closed that page. Does anyone have that open about what else our talking points are?
Yeah.
Oh, I think we lost her.
Connecting to audio. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
there we go. Reloaded my whole page. It says to respond to the instructor's week 3 lecture. When information is building your understanding of the interpersonal conflict experience. When is it time to take a break? What does it mean to self-soothe for you? And what do you do to self-soothe?
This is the week that we talked about having the stonewaller and the fuser, right? That was this.
Yeah, I think that really stuck out to me.
Yeah, so I mean, I enjoyed the lecture. I felt like it was very informational, with the stonewaller and fuser and taking a break and, talking about how to go about things so then you don't have somebody stonewall, and how it is just like a never ending circle, and that's why people stonewall. I could really relate to that, and I know Jamie talked about it too and said she could really relate to that. So I think lecture this week made
sometimes I'm sorry.
Nope.
Yeah, I found myself sometimes like just stop, but like I almost can't. But I need to like maybe be an Exeter, like, hey, go for a walk instead of reiterating 600 different times what's in my mind. Like my mind races like 1,000 miles an hour with anxiety and ADHD. It's terrible. So like if something really like lights my fuse, which is funny because it's called the fuser.
Maybe that's why.
like stop. Maybe I need to exit. Maybe I need to pick up on the exiting and not be like, I don't want to go right now. I have something to say real quick. Like back, like just go for 20 minutes. Come back when I'm less like fusey.
Yeah, I know. I just like
it's like when I thought about that, it's like my fuse, and then hey,
there it is.
But anyways, I talk a lot.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I found the lecture really interesting because when I was like reflecting on my own like understanding of like interpersonal conflict experiences, like I'm very much like the kind of person who really values like confrontation. I'm like the kind of person where like if there's a problem, like I feel as though it's better not to just let that like sit and stir because I feel like things get worse. And I feel like it's really hard for some people to do that. I've definitely found myself in situations where I felt as though there was like a problem, like it's like in a friendship, and I have like often been the one to reach out and be like, oh hey, like I was just wondering if you had any time to talk anytime soon, and like setting aside time, and then I try my best to like let people know kind of like what we're going to talk about, to be like, oh, I think like we should talk about like I need to talk to you about like X thing, because I also feel like it's important, not to just like spring that kind of stuff up on people and just like catch them off guard, because like what if they're having like a bad day, what if something is going on and like this conversation is just going to make things worse for them, and then we can't have a productive conversation. But I do feel as though sometimes I people are exiters, and I'm like, no, sit down. We're gonna have this conversation whether you like it or not, because we need to talk about this. But I feel like the next time I find myself in a similar situation, it will be like easier to be like, hey, I understand that you're like that you need to leave, but tell me when you're gonna come back. Let's agree on when you're going to come back, instead of being like, no, don't go.
We need to talk this out right now.
Yeah. But I think that would be something that I will probably do next time, because I feel like I have pretty good like self-soothing like skills when it comes to conflict, but I sometimes forget that other people are not in the same place as I am. Like, I don't know, I guess like mentally or emotionally with like when it comes to conflict. Like even before starting the class, I feel like we've learned a lot about like how like conflict can be positive and it can be like productive and be constructive. And that's just kind of like the mindset I already had about conflict, like coming into it. I feel like just due to like a lot of like real life experience. But I forget that not everyone feels that way about conflict. For some people, it's a very negative experience, and it's something that they avoid, which is understandable.
Yeah. I agree with like how it can be like you can learn so much from conflict, and like you can help like what can we do in the future, or like help build like it's I don't know what it is in my mind, like as far as like because of like friends, coworkers, and I think I am so good at conflict. And then I don't know if it's like just like growing up, like never seeing like a good, healthy, like romantic relationship, I guess maybe. It's like my like I'm so hyper defensive, and no, it's just so weird how I can be like totally opposite. But it's like friends, coworkers, other family members, but then like in like a personal relationship, like I'm like like it can be so like what can we learn from this, like what can we do better next time, or what's your opinion, where can we find a middle ground, what works good for you too.
And Dyla, did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like how when you like are gonna start something that makes somebody else feel uncomfortable or like a conflict situation, how you tell the person you're like, hey, I want to talk about this. So then they can be like, oh, okay, and maybe like think about it and think about why you want to talk about it and how they felt about it. Because like I know when somebody texts me and they're like, can we talk? I like freak out. I like have a panic attack.
About what?
Yeah, I'm like, because I'm like a fleer, so I'm like, no way am I coming over after that. I'm like, that is not.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate. I like how you do that, and I like how you've already incorporated that into your life.
Yeah, I feel like that really sets your relation, like your communication or conflict up for success, because you do allow that. Hey, so and so, like I really want to talk about like, and that for me, like, because I have anxiety, like, would really be like, okay, like I can meet about this. Like I have been given time to think about it, and it's not just spurred on me, And I think that would probably prevent a lot of defensiveness. Or I'm not coming.
Yeah.
I'm winning.
See, but like if I knew what it was about, I would be like, okay, yeah, we can talk about that. But if I don't know and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be horrible, my mind just goes to like the worst case scenario. Yeah, so it's nice to know when people are like, hey, like I had a problem with this. Can we talk about it? It's like, oh,
Yeah, it's like a boss being like, "Can I talk to you in my office after work?" No, how about right now?
yeah, right. Kind of all
Right now,
day. Yeah, but
it's funny. Yeah,
let's see.
One of the questions is, when is it time to take a break? I feel like for me, I dealt a lot with like anger issues in my youth, like high school, middle school, and I have like gained a lot of like skills and coping mechanisms. And it's like not as bad anymore. But like when I feel like there's different kinds of conflict. I feel like there's like pretty like low intensity conflict, but then I feel like there's like high intensity conflict. And I find myself when I'm in like high intensity conflict feeling a lot of like those like intense emotions. I try my best to recognize that I'm feeling like very tense, and I try to figure out what it is that I need in that moment so that I feel less tense, because then I feel like high intensity feelings in a high intense conflict could go really wrong really fast. And that's when I feel like exiting is like a good like coping skill to have, to like recognize I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now. I need to like separate myself from the situation so I can think about this clearly. Or else I might like say something that I don't mean, or like this might just get worse. But I also feel, and I feel like this is a little more muddled, but I also try to pay attention to how the other person is feeling and if they're feeling high intensity emotions. But that's a hard place to be in, because something that I've learned about previously is about, oh, I can't remember the name of it, but I think it's called like policing tone and like policing volume, and that's something that can like really set off people. And like as a person of color as well, especially a like woman of color, I feel like we learned about it in the context that like policing of tone and volume is often used against people of color, and like saying things like, "You're being really loud right now," or like, "I can tell like you're angry," and it's something that doesn't help the situation, because if someone tells me that I'm angry, then I'm gonna get even more upset. But it's also like, it's also like it can happen to anyone. So it's like that's kind of harder to navigate. And trying to find like a gentle way of being like, hey, like this is getting a little out of hand. Maybe we should take a break, instead of being like, I feel like you're feeling a lot of emotions right now, and like just trying to navigate that as best as possible.
I have quite a few Hispanic friends and all, but like other people be like, "Are they mad?" And I'm like, "No, it's just how they talk. Like, what is your?"
Yeah. Anytime I
never
speak in Spanish, my friends are always like, "You always sound so angry when you're talking in Spanish." I'm like, "I'm just talking."
like, actually, I'm really happy right now. Until now,
Yeah.
because you're judging me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you said. I agree that like when the conversation gets really heated on both ends, like you're able to tell that. Like I know in my relationship, when I know the conversation gets heated, like we both need to just walk away. Like we need some space to think about what's going on and think about why we're in the conflict and like what even started it, because then I feel like it just goes in a spiral if we don't walk away. And so then once we walk away, we both come back like calm and we're like, okay, now we can talk. Now we're both like, I see what I did wrong. I see where this is coming from. I see where this started. And then it's like, it makes it go better. So it's not just like yelling match or like somebody just gets so angry that they're just losing it.
And then also being like, instead of being like, it seems like you really need a break, it could be like, do you feel like a break would be beneficial right now for us? You know, instead of being like, you seem really mad. Like maybe we need a break. Because that's the whole like you, instead of maybe a we. Like you
or
feel
even
like
just saying I need a break, and like make
or
like that just them to take a break as well.
Yeah, make it about the self instead of the finger pointing, you know?
Yeah, no more blaming.
And the whole like 3 sets of issues underneath the fight, you know, usually is between power, trust, and value, you know? That really stuck out for me. You know, like what are we fighting for? Like why? You know? And it's not because you didn't do the dishes again, right? Or whatever. You didn't take the garbage out, you know? Maybe it's because you feel undervalued, you know, so that like which actually happens in my relationship. like just feeling, like undervalued, a lot of the time. But that could be like evoke, like you didn't take the trash out again, or whatever things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I really like. I feel like that's also like kind of like what Tiana was saying, which I really liked just how you said like what are we fighting about, because then it turns into like a spiral, and I feel like it's really important to get down to like you didn't do the dishes again, but it's also it's all about value. It's like I feel like you don't value me. Yeah,
it's not about the dishes.
Important. It's not about the dishes.
That's just what made you angry at that point.
That was the last straw.
That really stuck out to me this week. It's not what you fight about, it's what you fight for.
Right. Yeah. Just the reason behind everything. You gotta
it's just so funny how those 3 sets really just categorizes everything.
Yeah. Are you ready to move on to the next question?
Yeah.
Next question is, what does it mean to self-soothe for you? And I guess the next question also kind of goes along with that, but it also is, what do you do to self-soothe?
I would say that I just like need my alone time. Like I just need to be able to go and shower, or I just need to go on a drive, or just like get away for a little bit. Like even if it's like 15 minutes, I just need that time to just take time for myself.
Yeah, taking time for self is really important. I've done martial arts for a long time, and if I don't do that, like if I don't go for a few days or something, I can feel like when I don't, and it's like I need to do that for myself, and also time for yourself. Like I have a 5-year-old, so typically you don't get time for yourself. Yeah. So like being able to, if you're like just overstimulated from like all of the day, so like being able to that, or like I'm gonna go check the mail by myself across the street, even that just like a few minutes, like come back, like taking a short walk and gotten some fresh air. Some time for self-soothing. That's what my self-soothing. Baths, martial arts, a moment.
Yeah.
Flipping coupons in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, I'm very much so an Exeter, because I feel like the need to organize my thoughts. I actually was very, very incredibly recently involved in a conflict where I had to exit the room, and I lay down in bed for probably like 20 minutes just staring at the ceiling, because I was just like, so I'm like intellectualize my feelings kind of person, like rationalize and like trying to get down to like why it is that I feel a certain way. But I can't figure that out as like when I'm like actively in a conflict, and so I tend to exit and collect my thoughts, because I also feel like if I don't do that, that kind of leads to like, well, what are we even like arguing about, or like what was the conflict even about? Because I'm like trying so hard to organize my thoughts, and now I'm thinking about other stuff, that it turns into other things. And so definitely for me, like taking time to think about how it is that I'm feeling, what it is that I'm feeling, and how to like approach that. We get a really good presentation as part of our training for this job, about conflict, and something that I feel like I really took from that is this like phrase where it's like, right now I'm blanking on it, but it's basically like a way to like productively solve conflict and be like, I feel blank, and then there's another blank, and I can't remember what it was. I think it's like, because you blank or something like that. I
feel blank when you blank, and it makes me feel blank. Yeah,
exactly that. And I really like, I try really, really hard to include that when I am like in conflict, just because I feel like it's really concise, it's clear, and I feel like it just really gets down to the point, and like the root of the problem.
Definitely.
And that helps really organize. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it's really helpful in a conflict to know where the other person is coming from and where their mind's at. And I feel like that really tells you where they're coming from and where their mind's at.
That's smart. Like they're when you're in a conflict. So what I'm hearing is blank. Is that true?
Mhm.
You know, or so what I'm getting out of this is, you know, and then they have the opportunity to be like, no, that's not what I mean, or yes, you know, and just allowing that, just reiterating, you know, that makes sure that you're on the same page and you're understanding, and maybe your own thoughts aren't kind of fogging or um, adding to an issue that's not there, you know. Clarifying is important.
The next thing on the agenda is creating a team name.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
There's like a list of all of the teams, and we have a little image of a squirrel next to ours, if that inspires anything in anyone.
Feeling squirrely.
Feeling squirrely.
I like it.
I also have ADHD, so I relate very much so to squirrels.
You would.
I also have ADHD, so I very much so relate with squirrels.
Yeah, I'm like something else sometimes, I feel.
I like yeah, I think that's so cute.
The what?
Feeling squirrely.
Feeling squirrely, yeah. It is cute because we have, or like cheeky squirrels. I don't know.
Yeah.
Feeling squirrely, yeah, because we have a squirrel.
Yeah, right?
So we should do something squirrely.
Yeah. I think that's a good team.
I think feeling squirrely. I think that's a good one, honestly.
Okay. Sold.
Okay. And then the next one is when our next meeting is.
Oh, I don't even know what to do.
I'm glad we made it to the first one because I'm going to be honest. Like I was telling Tiana, I was really worried about it. As far as like getting something planned, but now it'll be a lot easier now that we're here.
Yeah.
I have anxiety, and so like being like worried, like putting my grade out there for someone else to have like control over.
At least she's like very flexible on the grading though. So it's like, if it works,
and I want everyone to be present. You know, I think we are missing one person. So hopefully I don't know.
They never replied to anything.
I'm not for sure how to pronounce their name. Quiet. I don't want to botch it. Yeah, so hopefully they will get back to us. But what days work best for you guys? Fridays and Saturdays are like really bad for me. Unless I work from 7 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. on Wednesdays.
Tuesday after late for me.
Yeah. The next team meeting is due on February 12th.
Okay.
So I feel as though maybe meeting sometime next week. Honestly, if this time next week works for you guys again, I feel like that might be good to do.
Yeah, that works.
And then we could get this done pretty early because it would be due the following week, Monday.
So you're thinking meeting on the 6th? Tuesday the 6th?
Yeah, whatever it is, a week from now.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, a week from now would be the 6th. The 6th. Tuesday. Yeah, that would work really well for me if we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
my daughter has
gymnastics. Same time next week.
Yeah, that should be good. So 3 p.m. team meeting
next Tuesday on the 6th.
Okay.
And I can do the whole group thing again and start it and send you guys the link again.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And then we'll just keep clients, and I feel bad like feeling like I'm botching their name. Hopefully we'll just keep them in the loop.
Yeah, maybe we'll send them an email with next week's meeting time and also put it in that thing. Okay, we have 10 minutes left before it stops again.
Okay. And then the next thing is decide who will bring the icebreaker question. I really like icebreaker questions. So I can do that if that's okay.
That'd be great.
And then
just let me know what I can do. I just email.
And then lastly, spend the last bit of time sharing what classes you're taking this term and where you are at in the program.
Okay.
So right now, I'm taking 16 credits. I'm taking all I'm trying to finish my upper division requirements as well as just like the minimum credit requirement. I'm done with my degree classes and all that. So right now I'm taking Literature 101. The class is, I think everything is spiritual. This class, I'm taking another comm class, media literacy, and what's my fourth one? Intro to social work is sociology. Yeah, where am I in the program? I feel like, yeah, I'm almost done with the program. I feel.
Nice. This term I'm taking conflict management, social psychology, and then intro into research methods, which is also a psychology class. Majored in psychology with minor in communications. I'm considered a junior. I did the Associates of Arts transfer degree from Shemeketa, so when all my credits transferred over, it put me at a junior status. But this is actually only my first year at Western. Well, I started last year, in fall. So I guess it's only my second term here. So it's weird that I'm a junior, but it's only my second term here. Kind of weird. I think I'm like 68% done with my major and then 57% done with my minor. So should be hopefully here. Hopefully. I only do 12 credits, otherwise I'll grind myself into the ground.
Yeah.
We have the same major and minor, so I am also in psychology classes. I took research methods last term. So I'm in quantitative methods this term. And then I'm also in psychopathology. And this class, I only take 12 credits too, because if I didn't, I would hate my life. It would be a
really, really hard finding balance. School, work, school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have like 4 or 5 more classes to finish my psychology degree, and then my communications, I think I need like 18 more credits. So I'm pretty close. I'm technically considered a junior, but I could be more, but I would because
you what?
I don't take very many classes. Oh, I said I'm technically considered a junior, but I'll be graduating next year since I only take 12 credits.
So maybe we're like in the same boat. I feel like
as
far as, we'll graduate at the same time. It's like, hi. Yeah, I know you. Yeah, it's funny.
Okay, well, it was good meeting you guys.
It was great meeting you guys. I feel a lot better now that we got this out of the way. I was pretty worried about getting it together because I felt like, where is everybody? Like that we were able to gather.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, I'll see y'all next week.
Okay.
Next week.
Take care. Oh, here we go. Okay.